Author A.J. Rice returns to take us through his latest literary work of art, the White Privilege album, on this episode of United Patriots Uprising with Gary Binford. I'm your host, Gary Binford. Thanks for joining us. This podcast is available at radioinfluence.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Hope you subscribe to it, leave a rating and a review, and be sure to tell your friends about the show. The video version of this podcast you can find at radioinfluence.com, YouTube, Rumble, Conservative Television of America, the Rose Unplugged Media Network, and the God, Family, and Country Television Network. Also, please hit the notification button and subscribe. And again, please tell your friends about the show. So just what is the White Privilege album, you ask? Well, it's not a record, even though it looks like one. It's a book just released that shot right up to number one on the charts in a very, very short period of time, like 2 days. But it sent my guest employees at the renowned Publius PR firm scurrying to get as far away from this book as they could in as fast a time as they can do it. Here's the statement the Publius Human Relations Department constructed for the book. Quote, "We are lodging a formal complaint against the author of the White Privilege album. Our safe spaces cannot save us from A.J. Rice. We have been emotionally triggered by his abusive content. He totally ignores the need for intersectionality in the workplace." So just what is that about? You ready to find out? Well, let's get into it. He's a columnist, humorist, impresario, brand manager, a star whisperer, media influencer, literary agent, and the undisputed GOAT of conservative public relations, and we'll let him explain what that means. He has served as the executive producer of The Laura Ingraham Show, as well as The Monica Crowley Show. And here are just some of the A-listers he's either produced, promoted, or represented. Donald Trump Jr., Marjorie Taylor Greene, Marsha Blackburn, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, Dan Bongino, the Hodge twins, Steve Hilton, Alan Dershowitz, Pete Hegseth, Newt Gingrich, Victor David Hanson. And I'm going to group these together: Judge Jeanine Pirro, Ben Carson, Carrie Lake, Peter Navarro, and Naomi Wolf, because they have been on my show, some of them several times, because they came through his PR firm. His latest book, The White Privilege album, bringing racial harmony to very fine people on both sides, has been released and shot right up to number one faster than I've ever seen a book shoot up to number one. I welcome back to the show the president and CEO of Publius PR and my friend, A.J. Rice. How are you, A.J.?
Gary, my brother, it's great to be here. It's a very auspicious time of year. Let's do it, brother.
Yeah, it's really tough and it's really rough. And the undisputed GOAT, bro, you got to explain to the people. I know what it means, but let them know what it means.
Well, I mean, you need to know what a GOAT is. So it's the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all, right?
Right. And look, let's be honest. That's just a partial list that you just gave the audience.
I know.
I mean, our PR firm at this point is the center of the MAGA cinematic universe. Okay. And I'm the Tony Stark inside of it. And I will tell you, I've been doing this over a decade on the PR side. Before that, I worked on the Hill and I produced shows. And the Trump era, the Trump and the RFK Jr. era. So what is kind of going on here since the OG came down the golden escalator? A lot of the PR firms that are in New York, are in DC in particular, that handle political people, political books, political organizations. If I haven't put a toe tag on them, and believe me, the morgue is filled, they have kind of thrown in, most PR firms have thrown in either with the left or with the Never Trumper movement. And to be fair, there are some guys out there that have been in this business a long time. They've given me good advice. Guys like Craig Shirley that, they're kind of 1 foot, in retirement at this point. I mean, surely, these guys, they worked for Reagan. They worked for maybe the Bushes. Some of them worked for Nixon, Pat Buchanan's campaign. They've kind of walked off into the sunset. So, look, de facto, I mean, we pretty much have gobbled up most of the talent. If there are some people that we like to say all roads lead to Publius. If there are people out there we haven't gotten yet, it's because they haven't found their way to us yet, but they will, because all roads lead to us at this point. So look, I'm having some fun. Yeah, I'm not Tom Brady, I'm not Michael Jordan, I'm not Tiger Woods, but I will tell you, in my field, no one wants a coach who doesn't play the game. So yeah, there's a bunch of doughy, dorky, goofy DC PR people sitting in their behind their Venetian blinds that are claiming to be publicists. But I'm actually in the trenches. The curtain's back. The Wizard of Oz is before you. I'm even wearing his colors today. And look, we are here to save the country. We're not just here to make money. It's nice if you can make money, but that's why I am not only a publicist, but I also do these books, because I want to be in the game, right? So I
hear you. Now, your last book, the last time you were on with your bestseller, The Woking Dead. This book had your PR, had your human relations staff running for the hills. This is hilarious. So what possessed you to do a book like this? And one of the great things, AJ, is that you mix seriousness with humor, because, we're at the edge of the cliff, man, and people are afraid. They're afraid we're heading into communism if the other side wins this election. And there's so much going on with the other side. Families can't talk. They can't stay together. People are fighting in the streets. I mean, literally, as far as it goes with these election things. And you came out with a book that is both serious and humorous. Why this and why now?
Well, look, I write the way I talk. I'd like to make a formal apology to the Beatles for the book title. Here's the thing. You and I are buddies. We do this for a living. I don't think there's enough conservatives out there that are professional wiseasses, that are using humor. Because look, if we are going to go to the gallows, and you and I might be, in front of the same firing squad someday from cancel culture, if we're going to go to the gallows, we might as well go to the gallows with a little fun. So yes, it's a tragedy. It's a comedy. I like to, bust stones. I do that for a living. I'm from Philadelphia. I can't help it. We have a saying in Philadelphia, that no one likes us and we don't care. So when it comes to conservatism, and look, I've had some great mentors. You mentioned Monica and Laura. They're like my sisters. Andrew Breitbart gave me a lot of great advice when he was alive. And look, I was a Rush baby. So, and the one thing Limbaugh used to say is that our job is to not just do interviews and host shows. Our job is to be entertainers, and if you can entertain first and inform second, you will get a bigger following. So look, I was raised on Howard. I was raised on old school Howard Stern. And I would just say this. Our job is to basically use irreverent humor to illustrate truth. And that's what I try to do with these books.
I hear you. Now, just to make one small correction, you're earning a living. This is a God-allowed hobby for me. I wish it could be a living, but, ministry is my thing, and I'm retired. But I've been so blessed. 180, 90 high-profile guests in less than 4 years, and you have been very instrumental in helping me get a lot of them. So I really appreciate that from you, bro. Tell people the premise of the book, and when they get into it, why it's a page turner they won't be able to put down.
Well, look, other than, the fact that I made it look like an old school hip hop album, I actually sent you, I had a rap song commissioned. I think I sent you the clean version by a famous rapper from Brooklyn. His name's BK, Jewish kid, but he looks like, Eminem. And he has rapped with many members of the Wu-Tang Clan. He's like an underground battle rapper. So when I knew I was going to call the book the White Privilege Album, I thought to myself, and some of my friends said, you know what? Let's create our own parental advisory sticker on the front of the book, which I did, which says Woking Dead Advisory, triggering content, right here, which is a callback to the first book. That's a callback to the first book. So the first book is on the cover of the second book. And second, I would say that if you go look at Pink Floyd's The Wall album, you will see similarities to this. Not a rap album, but a favorite of mine. And look, what's an album? An album is a collection of photos, songs, or essays. So this is 82 essays. I go through the 12 months of the year. So it's the 12 months of privilege. So the first chapter is January and the last is December. So you don't have to start at the beginning. You could jump right to September, right to October. And each one's thematic. I talk about Columbus Day and Halloween in October. But one of the reasons philosophically I did it was because I saw, and this is a direct sequel to The Woking Dead, which is why it has the number 2 on the spine. I will tell you, the subtitle's called Bringing Racial Harmony to Very Fine People on Both Sides. And obviously, other than being a wise ass, I am channeling one of the great hoaxes, what I would call the foundational hoax of the Trump is a racist lie. And there's others. And look, they lie about a lot of what he says, losers and suckers and bloodbath and IVF and Project 2025. But, as I was promoting The Woking Dead, it dawned on me that there was a section in The Woking Dead that I needed to drill down more on. And that a lot of what was driving us apart, especially after George Floyd died, was race stuff. And I'm a Philly guy. I grew up on the South Philly playgrounds. I used to think I was Allen Iverson. So, a lot of what I hear the left say about white people and Hispanic people and black people, I just didn't experience because, my neighborhood was Italians and Irish and blacks and Jews. Now, not everyone's like that, They might not be talking about me. They might be talking about Topeka, Kansas. But I got to tell you something. And I'm not trying to pick on Topeka. I will tell you, when you hear this term, white privilege, it's actually code. It's code. And I'm abducting the term back, obviously, and trolling the left with the book cover. But what they're actually talking about, what the Woking Dead and the cultural Marxists are talking about when they say white privilege is first at the macro level, Gary, Western civilization. And when I'm talking about Western civilization, I'm talking about the Greco-Roman Judeo-Christian civilization. So the four legs that make up the West. Where the borders of the West are geographically at this point is anyone's guess. They might go from Moscow to Tokyo, the other direction. But traditionally, Western civilization. And then secondly, the one thing the left hates and they know they've got to get rid of is the middle class. It has to go. The middle class has to go. It has to go bye-bye because, as you know, any place Marxism has thrived, it's always been some ruling elite with the peasants. So, and then Marxism overthrows the ruling elite, some royal family or some autocratic regime, and you have a serf rebellion, right? So that's what they want. The middle class, because we have one, that's the reason we never became the Soviet Union. Because we have hardworking middle class, work their ass off, longshoremen and lumberjacks and bricklayers and oyster fishermen, and they're the backbone of the country, okay? The programmers at Google are not the backbone of the country, right? They barely have backbones themselves, right? They're all waiting to get laid till they're 35. And the third thing, speaking of that the left has to get rid of, that they can't stand. And we know they want to get rid of it because Black Lives Matter, in between sending out Valentines to Hamas, Black Lives Matter told us they had to get rid of it. And that is the nuclear family. So if you can get rid of these three things, Western civilization, the middle class, and the nuclear family, you can remake us in your bleak image of just nastiness and class warfare and pitting. bifurcating us into your little Benetton ads of, racial groups and sexual orientations, because that's how they see the world. And look, I'm not here to be Victor Davis Hanson. VDH does just fine. I'm here to bring a little levity, but also inform. And one of the things I do in the book, beyond cracking jokes, is that there are some serious moments where I talk about Jackie Robinson, or I talk about the white people that got Nelson Mandela out of jail. And I draw contrasts, and I tell stories that you should know about. And one of the contrasts I draw is the fact that you have two biracial men, one named Colin Kaepernick and one named Aaron Judge. They both had adopted white parents. And the difference with which they treat their parents, and the difference with which they see not only themselves as role models and as athletes and as entertainers, but the way they see the country. And it's sad because Kaepernick's parents love him to death, but he's backed over them with an 18-wheeler. Whereas Judge's parents, he really appreciates them. They're public school teachers in Colorado. So all hail Aaron Judge's parents. Right? So we need to tell more of these stories. Like, why aren't we telling the Aaron Judge story? Instead it's negativity. It's like, oh, Aaron Judge, he's multiracial. It's like they did this to Jordan. They do it to Tiger a little bit. They did it to Derek Jeter. Like, why aren't you pushing your black supremacy?
Look at how
like Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. Remember how Obama trucked his own mother?
Sure, and backed over look, there is a tribute to Obama's grandfather in the book. You don't find out that it's who I'm talking about until the last line. So there's a section of the new book called The Ballad of Stanley Dunham, which I found fascinating because I tried to write it the way Paul Harvey used to do his talks. Yeah. Where at the very end, the reveal happens and he says, and now you know the rest of the story, right? Sure. Yeah. So I tell this story of this American hero. And you don't know if you don't know that Barack Obama's white mom was named Dunham, and that Barack Hussein Obama went through most of his life calling himself Barry Dunham.
Right.
Until the Columbia professors got a hold of him. You don't know who I'm talking about. And then you're like, oh my God, this is like the American story of the 20th century, especially, people that fought in World War II and so on. Just an unbelievable guy. But he got backed over because, look, watch Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood. There's a certain generation of people that, they just spoke a certain way. They spoke a certain way. And, what are you going to do? I'm not a big fan of everything Bill Maher says, but and I talk about this in the book, and other people have come up. He didn't coin this term, but there's this term presentism, where Gary and I get together and we start judging all of human history through the lens of today's social norms. We're mad at George Washington because he didn't have a gay friend, right? So you can't do that, right? Yeah. So history is a snapshot, the zeitgeist of the times, right? And there's stuff that I'm saying today, probably, I don't know, I'm from Philadelphia, maybe not, that 10 years from now when I watch this broadcast, which will be in the Broadcasting Hall of Fame someday, I'll probably cringe. But, you never know.
I know what you mean. Hey,
maybe Gary will later.
Yeah, my favorite entertainer of all time was James Brown. How do you think his big hit from back in the day, It's a Man's World, would go over now?
Oh, forget it. Forget it. You know what? Is that James Brown funeral still going on? Because I know it went on. It went on for like 4 months. James Brown, I mean, look, a lot of entertainers, whether it's James Brown or Elvis or Francis Albert Sinatra, there's a lot of behavior and stuff that went on that, would not work today for various reasons. I think, I got to be honest with you, I think we lose something when we can't dress and talk and act and sing a certain way. Now, obviously, Um, every humanity in general kind of sucks, and there we are an evolving species trying to do better. I believe the arc of progress does bend towards making ourselves better, and justice, and equality, not equity. So yeah, we have different blemishes in our past. Every civilization does, but that doesn't mean we throw it all in the toilet and flush. Forget it. But that's what the left wants. That's what the Woking Dead wants. That's what the cultural Marxist wants, and that's why they have to concoct terms like white privilege, because they're trying to alienate, target, and then destroy, whether it's Winston Churchill or Christopher Columbus. These things have to go, and they're trying their best.
Well, we've talked a lot. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I believe since
Right.
since the fall in the garden, society has been devolving, not evolving. But
There you go.
we try and do better. But when you take
Right.
God out of the workplace, the government, and the schools, the kids don't even know. They don't even know what the Ten Commandments are anymore. So it's hard to do better, in my opinion, when you don't know right from wrong. And along
That's
that
right.
line, what you said about the woke, I've been dying to ask you this question because you're involved with so many people of the political persuasion. Why is it? And we talked before, before we started this interview, about shadow banning and being blocked and canceled, and all your guests, like if you want to talk about the vaccine, the virus, if you want to talk about J6, if you want to talk about Trump, if you want to talk about anything of a conservative right Christian nature, you're getting blocked, shadow banned, censored, all kind of things. Why is there woke and cancel culture? In other words, who died and made them boss?
Well, some of it is the fact that our levers of information and academia and entertainment have been slowly being eaten by a tapeworm of cultural Marxism. It didn't start yesterday. It's 100 years. It's a long march through the institutions. I mean, at one point it was Broadway and the silent picture industry and early radio and newspaper businesses. And now it's Google and TikTok, and it's still it's still NBC Universal, it's still CBS Paramount, it's still ABC Disney, right? So, I mean, these multinational conglomerate media companies, I mean, that's trickled down wokeism into the DNA of everything. It's funny, the woke and the globalists, both. So both wokeism and globalism, they have hit squads. And online, I call them the digital brown shirts. And then they have, I mean, you mentioned a few topics you can't talk about. Another one you can't talk about. If you do, the trans mafia will whack you.
Right.
The trans mafia are coming for everyone. And then you get deplatformed, you get shadow banned, you get demonetized. And then if they can't get to you that way, they may dox you and send assassins after you, or tell everyone where Brett Kavanaugh lives, or come next door to Rand Paul and break his ribs, or shoot up a baseball field with Steve Scalise. This is real. They jumped, we had a member of the trans mafia jumped on stage at the Hollywood Bowl and tried to stab Dave Chappelle. So, and Dave Chappelle's not exactly Clarence Thomas. It's not exactly you. It's not exactly you, right? So look, I mean, they are trying to cancel digitally and physically. I've been thrown off of both YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm not allowed to use that. Not as AJ Rice anyway, as AJ Binford maybe. But
they're working me over on YouTube too. I'm there, but boy, they give me a very hard time.
Sure. I mean, look, they know that they have to control the language. They have to control perspectives. I mean, look, they're after Brittany Mahomes is the white wife of Patrick Mahomes, who's biracial. She has biracial children.
Mm-hmm.
And they are hunting her now.
I know.
Because she clicked like on a Donald Trump post. right? I would caution the left, and you're going to like this. I would caution the left about something. Don't brag so much about Taylor Swift getting behind Kamala Harris. Taylor Swift constituency is the unmarried, weird cat lady, white girl, unmarried, miserable, joyless, can't keep a man cat ladies. I don't know why they're bragging about that. They already have that constituency sewn up. But who they don't have, who's watching them, all right, that is leaving Kamala, are married black males.
Right.
All right? Like Patrick Mahomes, like many other people that don't buy the Canadian, Jamaican, Indian woman that's sitting there trying to get knighted by Oprah Winfrey. Right. She's getting knighted, right? She looks like she looks like she should be managing an H&R Block, and she's right now the candidate for the presidency, and she's never won one primary.
Right. AJ, let me interject right here, because one of our buddies who wrote the foreword to your book, who wrote the foreword to this book, Vince Everett Ellison, when he was on last, he said black males are going to leave the Democratic Party because they will not put up with what they're trying to do to their kids, with the puberty blockers and sex change of these young kids. He said that's where black men would draw the line, and I hope he's right. And he wrote a great foreword to your book.
Absolutely. And, Vince is like
that's a warrior.
He's like the black god of thunder, man. He will call it down on you. And and that's why, he's a good friend, and the foreword is fantastic. And he has a new book out. Hopefully we'll get him back soon here. And look, here's the thing. Barack Obama tried to simplify it by saying, tell me how racist this is. He said on a podcast with some, dopey beta white libs, that black people are gravitating towards Trump because they like the bling. They like the fact that Trump's got gold-plated golf courses and houses and stuff. Can you imagine talking about any other race any other way? I think it's fun. I think it's funny, and I think there's some truth to the fact that Trump has been a cultural icon in black culture for a long time. He's been mentioned in rap songs thousands of times, which is why there's a section of the book where I call him our first hip-hop president, not Barack Obama, Trump. But it is interesting that Obama can't see. He can't see why, and you just mentioned some of why, and Vince mentioned some of why. What are all the other reasons that black people might want to vote for Trump? No, if Trump puts on a Flavor Flav clock, then that'll get black people. No, it's not the family. It's not the economy. It's not the fact that Democrat governors are flooding black communities with illegal aliens. No, it's none of that. They all want gold-plated houses. It's so demeaning. And it's God.
And I'm sitting here with an Ohio University ring and a $40 Timex watch that's probably 20 years old. So there's my bling. We can't make this stuff up. Since you brought up Trump, how do you see this election? How do you see and we can't lose this one, right? And how do you see you're in touch? We're both in touch, but you're way more in touch with a lot of influential political people. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And how do you think this is going to go down? And we can't lose this one, right?
Look, I don't think, Hillary Clinton, I guess you have to ask your audience this. Can this woman get more votes as the most unlikable woman in American history than Hillary Clinton did? I don't think she can, but Biden did. Trump beat Hillary. Didn't win the popular vote, but won the Electoral College math. That's probably what will happen again. The idea that Trump got more votes than any sitting president in history. Can Kamala, who people pretty much see as a phony baloney puppet of the wokeism and globalism, I don't think I see groups of people breaking from her. And it's not just African Americans. It's, our Jewish brothers and sisters, because of some of the stuff, they're playing footsie with Hamas. Some of it's Hispanics that, look, you've got a bunch of counties along in the Rio Grande Valley, along the Texas-Mexican border that have a Democrat congressman, and they all voted for Trump. That's not exactly filled with Scandinavians, right? So you see them moving in that direction. You have this famous Harvard case. I think Kenny Hsu, our client, was on here talking about it, where Asian people are using affirmative action to get ahead. You have Indian Americans that I think could care less whether Kamala can make a curry and care more about having their small business taxes cut. That's what they care about. And they've gone back to the old bag of tricks, threat to democracy, insurrection, Dick Cheney and drag. They bring Dick Cheney and drag out there, right? I mean, Gary, I'm telling you, if you would have told me, and I used to talk with Liz Cheney. We used to book her as a guest when I was with Laura. If you would have told me that a Democrat nominee for president would go on TV and say, I have the support of Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, and I have all these Romney and McCain and Bush people, vote for me, where Trump goes out there and says, I've got Elon Musk, who used to just vote Democrat. I've got RFK Jr., who is the prince of the Democrat dynasty. I've got Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, who do you want to roll with? Who do you want to hop down the street with? RFK Jr., Elon, and Tulsi? Or the McCain and Romney people? I mean, are you kidding me?
They're nuts. They're
right.
nuts.
So, the independents and the libertarians and some Bernie Sanders people, they are breaking from the Democrat Party. Right? And you compound what Vince said about African Americans, Hispanic people, what Salcedo has been saying. Our client, Chris Salcedo for Newsmax, he's been saying it for years, that Hispanics look, as an Irish Catholic from Philadelphia, it won't take long. If you start importing thousands of Latin American Catholic people that never get divorced, that have 50 children, that are escaping some Marxist hellhole, it's not going to take, unless you think they're stupid, it's not going to take long before they start voting Republican. Because they're going to see,
I hope you're right.
Oh my God, these people want to turn this place into Venezuela. I just left there, right? So, yeah.
AJ, I hope you're right. And, talking about Trump, I had the pleasure, as you know, of going to a Trump rally recently right here in my backyard. I can walk to the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, New York. It was a long day, but boy, did I have a great time. I talked to you before the rally, and you could only get 17,000 inside the building, but they had 60,000 requests for tickets. So there were 30, 40, or 50,000 outside the building that I couldn't see inside the building. But the energy and the love for this man, and just spending all day, because I got there 9:45 and they didn't let us in until 3, and just meeting so many great patriots of all races, sex, male, female, rich, poor, black, white, Spanish, everybody. You could just see a love fest for Trump, because we do not want this nation going communist. We want America first. We want God, family, and country. And it was a wonderful experience. And I know you've had a lot of people on the show. You presented many to me that have brought this faction into what we do. And we have to keep getting the word out. So my final question to you, what do you want to say to the American public before I tell them how to get your book and everything? What do you want to say to the American public? Because it's go time. This is it. Right. What would you like to tell them? Because time is short.
Sure. Well, let me just say this. We are not a multicultural country. We are a multi-ethnic country. And in that means anyone can come here and participate. Look, I'm having fun with the name of the book, but, the reality is the middle class and the nuclear family and Western culture is for everyone. It's not just for white people or these people or those people. It's for everyone. The dream is real. You have to keep it alive. You can come here and we can join together, whether it's Ron Paul people and Trump people and RFK Jr. people. I mean, you saw them in that audience. Some Bernie people. That we all want the same thing. We want to better our families, our communities, and our country. And we don't want to be divided along these really narrow identity politics lines. So this country is yours. It's yours. You're a Filipino restaurant owner, you're African American law student. It's yours. It is. And look, everyone gets a shot here. And that's what I think Make America Great Again is all about. And look, I crack jokes and stuff in the book, but there is true heart in both my books where I'm using humor to illustrate truth, but I do want to bring some people together to understand that, we have more things in common than the things that drive us apart.
I hear you. AJ, it's always great talking to you, and people, we go back and forth during the weeks because he's always pitching great guests to me, and I'm always telling him keep up the great work. And he's a wonderful individual, people that cares about the country and cares about humankind and people. So AJ, tell people how they can reach you and how they can get the book and anything else you'd like to support. Anything else you'd like to promote?
Well, look, I mean, if you are a conservative and you're looking to get out there and get on great shows like this, you can absolutely find me at publiuspr.com and just, tons of Publius PR social media handles everywhere. I mean, we've run the gamut. It's not just big names like Don Jr. and Judge Jeanine and Vince Everett Ellison. It's people that you might not have heard of yet that you should hear from. And, come to us, give us a call. And look, the book is available, at least for now, until they send me to the gulag. Everywhere books are sold, Target, Walmart, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Get a copy. And, the holidays are coming. You got some blue-haired nieces or nephews. Wave a little copy around, for Halloween for them.
Hey, keep up the good fight, man. Don't let them grind you down. And the thing that I tell you, and people that like you that I'm always trying to be encouraging, keep up that good fight and understand that they want us to quit. They want us to stop. They want us to slow down, but we have to forge ahead. So once again, Thank you for coming on, and God bless you and the family.
Yeah, brother, I'm never going to quit. I'm like Nick Foles beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. And I never stop the fight, brother. Never.
Thanks for coming back, AJ. We'll talk to you soon. There you have it, everybody. Mr. AJ Rice. I want to thank my friend AJ Rice for coming back and chit-chatting about his new book. AJ has the unique ability to mix humor with the seriousness of the times. And these are dire times, people. This is the end of the line. We've kicked the can to the end of the road. There's no more road left. There's just a cliff. And that fall will be great if we take it, because it will be a fall into communism. No way, no shape, no how on our watch. So I thank AJ for coming back and for being who he is and doing what he does. This podcast is available at radioinfluence.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Hope you subscribe to it, leave a rating and a review, and be sure to tell your friends about the show. You can get the video version at radioinfluence.com, YouTube, Rumble, Conservative Television of America, the Rose Unplugged Media Network, and the God, Family, and Country Television Network. Please click the notification so you'll be notified whenever a podcast drops. Subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends about the show. We have an audio version. The show was audio for the first few years, so there are more than 180 high-profile guests, many who have been on several times. So we would like you to go back and check some of those podcasts out, because what they said then is just as valid today as when they recorded those podcasts. So you can go to radioinfluence.com, find the archives for United Patriots Uprising with Gary Binford, and some of the guests there would be Ben Carson, Christina Bobb, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, Rebecca Friedrichs, Pastor Jack Hibbs, Carol Swain, Tom Holman, Carrie Lake, Mike Lindell, Michael Loftus, Monica Crowley, Dick Morris, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Drew Thomas Allen, Brandon Tatum, Will Witt, Kenny Chu. Just a few. So hope you'll do that because, as I said, what they have to say still lasts. Well, that's it for now. So thanks for joining us. This is your host, Gary Binford, saying God bless you, God bless your families, and God bless America.